So, hi, I am Taraleigh Weathers, and sometimes I really like to interview people that are rocking their lives. And so today I'm going to interview one of my soul sisters and unicorn lovers, Richele Henry, and she is an amazing body love coach. Hey, Richele.
Hi, Taraleigh. Thanks for having me today. I feel like I'm in your living room in Burlington. It's like really exciting to be with you.
I love it too. It's like I'm with you in Baltimore. Technology is so cool sometimes.
Totally, so amazing. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. And so here is your first question. So what is your big why for being a body love coach?
Such a good question. Well, there are a couple of big whys. One is that I had a lot of struggles with my body when I was growing up and into my teens and into my 20s. And so for those of you who don't know, something that Taraleigh and I share is that we studied dance together, and we met at Arizona State University where we went to college. And in the dance lineage, there is a lot of pressure to look a certain way. So I remember being a little girl and hearing my dance teachers tell me to suck my stomach in and tuck my butt under. And I internalized that message as my body's not okay the way that it is. I also have a grandmother who prides herself now on being 92 and weighing 92 pounds. And so she's like a teeny tiny woman, but I would often hear her criticizing other women in my family, like my mom, my sister, and my cousins, about their weight. And I was the youngest of the family, so I picked up on a lot of body conscious stuff when I was really young, and that followed me into my teen years as my body changed. And that followed me into college and, doing dance, and it followed me into my adulthood. And what I most want for women, and I wanted this for myself, and I set myself on a journey to have it, was total unconditional self-love. And that meant embracing every part of my body, embracing my uniqueness, all of my curves, all of the places that I used to judge. In the past, I remember at one time dreaming about the day that I would get liposuction on my inner thighs and maybe a nose job to fix my crooked nose, right? So what I wanted was to really love myself and be happy. And I think, maybe not all women have the same story that I have, but in some way we've internalized this idea that we're not good enough. And a lot of our pain comes around comparing our bodies to what the picture of perfection or the ideal beauty is in our society, and most of us will never measure up to that. I certainly didn't. And so through my own journey of self-discovery and self-love, I've found such freedom. Like right now I'm 5.5 months pregnant. My body is changing so much, and it's exciting. In the past, I would have been freaking out. Oh no, I've already gained 20 pounds. This is really bad, and blah, blah, blah. It's going to be really hard to take the weight off. And now I'm just embracing every part of it. So to come back to your original question, what is my big why? I want for every woman to feel completely free in her body, like fully self-expressed, owning her unique beauty, and really feel like she is this unique gift to the world, with no need to fix or change herself at all. Like, we are all perfect, whole, and complete. We're each unique like snowflakes, and if we could all just embrace that, I think the world would be such a peaceful, beautiful place, and we would pass that knowing down to our next generation, to our daughters and our sons. So that was a long answer to your question, but that's my big why, is radical self-love for all.
Yes, and you have really helped me to embrace radical self-love for myself too, because I've known you for so long, and like I remember times where we would be dancing or whatever and being like, I would be like, oh, like I have such a big butt, it's so gross. And then you would be like, I have, like, my stomach is fat or whatever. And we would like build on that, where now when we talk to each other, it's just kind of like, instead of what we hate about our body, we talk about more about what we love about it. And it feels so much better and so free, like you said, because when you can really release yourself from that body hatred, it's like a whole world opens up.
Absolutely, yeah, and I love that you shared that. There was some agreement with a lot of my girlfriends that I noticed, where it would be like you said, my butt's so big, or look at my stomach, or look at my acne, or whatever, and then we would have to one-up each other, like, oh, well, my butt's bigger than yours, or, oh, but at least you have big boobs, my boobs are so small. So it was like, in order to uplift the other person, we would have to like break ourselves down, and that's just insane. Like, I can't even imagine, being a teenage girl, like however many years ago that was, and like that being the common dialogue that happened in the locker room, in the gym locker room, or getting ready for a dance rehearsal. And now it really is like, you're so amazing, you're so beautiful, I love you so much. Like, that's our conversation, and that's like really our reality. And I love that, and I'm so grateful to have friendships with women like you who even now today, if I do get in a space where I am feeling badly about myself, I know that I can talk to you or other of my soul sisters, and you'll help me remember who I am. And so I think that's a really important piece, especially on my body love journey, and as I'm supporting other women, is like, we need to surround ourselves with people who see our absolute perfection and our gifts. And when we forget who we really are, those are the people in our lives who help us remember and bring us back to our center and back to our truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And if somebody doesn't like me because I have a big ass, then they don't deserve my time, because they don't actually really like me, because I'm so much more than just a big ass.
Well, personally, I love your big ass. So, yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, actually.
Thank you. And so my next question is, when you are working with clients, what is one of the biggest obstacles, maybe a common denominator, that they're all dealing with?
That's a really good question. I'd say a lot of women come through the doorway of food. So a lot of them identify as emotional eaters or sugar addicts. That was a big part of my story, was being addicted to sugar, and I was using food to stuff down emotions that were really uncomfortable that I didn't want to deal with. So feelings of loneliness or feelings of shame. So I'd say the emotional eating piece is a common denominator. And what we find is that oftentimes what's even further behind the emotion is this negative thought about self. So I'm thinking of one woman who she had a story or a belief that she held that until she was thin, she couldn't be happy. So what she would do was she would think that thought, and in her mind, she thought that thought would motivate her to make changes. And what ended up happening was she would feel disappointed and disgusted with herself, and then she would self-sabotage by eating ice cream or drinking beer or whatever, and then end up feeling really badly in her body, like feeling bloated and then having guilt. And then she would punish herself again with that original thought. See, you'll never be happy until you're thin. You're miserable now. So in addition to the emotional eating piece, going back even further, there's usually some pervasive negative thought or limiting belief about self that holds them back from having what they really want. And something that I love doing with clients is just identifying that belief is not necessarily the truth. It's just something that maybe they learned, or something happened in their life and they made that up. They saw this person and saw that they weren't thin and they weren't happy, and then made up, I can't be thin unless I'm happy. Or, you know, maybe saw a family member struggling with weight and said, I'm never going to be like that. So we want to just be really gentle as we explore some of these beliefs that are behind the emotions that drive us to take the actions that we take. So the other piece, the final thing that I'll say about this is that a lot of women come to me knowing that if they were to make some changes with food, or maybe even their movement, like how they move their body, that their body could release weight. Like they have that knowing. But what I see is that even if someone makes really positive changes with food and movement, but they're still thinking junk food thoughts, that actually won't get them the results that they want in the short term or the long term. They'll still be feeling badly about themselves, and with the thought that something's not right or something needs to be fixed, it like doesn't matter how much weight they lose or like how good they look. To the ego, it'll never be good enough. So we want to just name that and identify that from the very beginning, and then start to add in some small things that they can do that get them feeling really good, so that there's a little bit of space to do this deeper work. Yeah, I think that's all I'll say for now.
Yeah, amazing. So what is one piece of golden advice that you could give my people right now that has to do with loving their bodies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what wants to come through is that you can't get from where you are to where you want to be with one single leap. It's going to take a lot of little baby steps. So one of the first things that you can do is just have compassion for yourself, that you've been kind of hard on yourself in the past. Like, oh, when you see someone else who you really love, who beats themselves up or breaks themselves down for a variety of reasons, you have so much compassion for them. It's like, oh, I so wish I could see, or I so wish they could see what I see in them, like their beauty and their gifts and their unique inherent goodness, right? So it's like bringing compassion to your own experience with yourself, and then consciously choosing to forgive, like all of that stuff that you've done or thought or eaten in the past. Just forgive all of that, and through forgiveness we give ourselves a clean slate. We can actually move forward from somewhere. And then from the forgiveness piece, I would say focus on something that you can appreciate, even if it's a small thing, like, oh wow, I love how green my eyes are, or oh, I love how soft my skin is today. It feels so good, right? So finding some small thing every day that you can appreciate about your body, and focus on that and give your attention to that instead of giving your attention to the thing that's not working or the thing that you don't like. And as you build this muscle of forgiveness and then appreciation, you notice yourself starting to get more into a state of being open to love. So if we, break it down as simply as possible, there are only two forces at play in the universe. There's fear and there's love. And so anything that isn't love is fear. So we could say that forgiveness is the pathway. It's the bridge from fear to love. So practicing that forgiveness and compassion for self, and then once there's a little bit of space, starting to appreciate, and then you'll notice that the appreciation starts to become admiration, and it becomes love, and it just starts to feel even better. So that would be my golden nugget to offer today.
Wow. Well, your golden nugget was freaking amazing. And and I mean, just I don't know how long this was, probably about 5 minutes. And the aha moments I had, and I've known you forever, in those 5 minutes were mind-blowing. And so I'm sure for everybody watching that they had so many aha moments, so I'd love to hear about them. So please leave a comment letting me know. And also, Richele is going to be one of the mentors for the Rock Your Life mentorship program. So if you can only imagine that just me asking her questions for 5 minutes, how much like amazingness happened. Can you imagine a whole entire hour with her on the phone? How much magic would happen there? So I'm so excited that you were part of the mentorship, Richele, and this was amazing. So thank you for being so awesome and being your beautiful, loving self. And I love you so much.
Thank you. You are amazing. I'm so honored to be a part of your Rock Your Life mentorship. And, you know, I publicly declared my love for you on your birthday post on Facebook. But I'll do it again. I love you so much, Taraleigh, and I value your friendship and I value your partnership. And I just want to say, and I think this is probably speaking for so many people who know you, in your presence, I feel loved, and it helps me to love myself when I surround myself with people who are loving. And so thank you for the gift that you are to my life and to so many people, and I love you so much.
I love you too. I'm crying joy tears into my unicorn. That was so beautiful, and I feel all of those things about you too. And yes, thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Me and Richele and the unicorn, we all love you. So have the most amazing day ever. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.